What's going on, everyone? Jeremy here from The Quartering, and among all the other kind of hilarious tales I have to tell you today, this one might be the most insane. I saw that George Orwell's 1984 was trending earlier today, and I thought, oh, somebody's just making another totally apt comparison to everything that's going on in the world right now. You know, I watched an elderly woman, I think Italian, get arrested because she didn't have a smartphone with her passport, her poke passport on it. I watched somebody in Australia, I believe, self-immolate over lockdowns. I read about a father in Germany who his employer found out about his wife's fake or had faked her poke card, and so he went home and ended everybody in the house, including himself. We are living in many ways in a 1984 dystopian world. Big tech censorship, the world run by corporations, big pharma, all this stuff. But no, it wasn't any of that. It was worse. There is now in production a feminist retelling of George Orwell's 1984, and it's gonna be a movie too. I'm not kidding you. A feminist retelling of George Orwell's 1984 is in the works. Yikes. One of the seminal works of fiction in the in the 20th century was George Orwell's 1984. It's getting a sequel of sorts. The British writer's estate has granted approval to Julia, a novel by Sandra Newman, who wrote The Country of Ice Cream, apparently, that reframes the story of fascism from the perspective of the original's romantic interest. In 1984, which was first published in 1949, is told from a very narrow perspective of Winston Smith, who lives in a dystopia where Great Britain has been named Airstrip 1. The country and the world at large moves through a series of perpetual wars and alliances between three mega countries, Oceania, East Asia, and Eurasia. At home, Airstrip 1 is ruled with an iron grip by its sole political party, INGSOC, which is a division or driven by a cult of personality around its leader, Big Brother. As an outer party member of INGSOC, Winston lives sheltered, if not particularly glamorous life, of working for the Ministry of Truth, the state's propaganda arm that works to eliminate even the thought of resistance in the people's minds, creating vague and threatening phrases instead of precise ones. All this changes for Winston when he meets Julia. Now, if you told me that the book was just going to be told from Julia's perspective, I might be interested. Why are we calling it feminist? It's like they want it to tank or something like that. Newman describes who described it as such. Here, this is Sandra Newman. So this is my big news for today. I am writing a feminist retelling of 1984. How? No. I'm just going to go with no. And then I'm sure I'll be blocked. It seems like most people are pretty excited about it. Is that a bit sad? Why not write your own dystopia novel? Doesn't it imply that you don't have the imagination to come up with your own story? You have to rework a man's story? Ha, zing. I mean, nobody wants this anywhere. Anywhere. Nobody wanted this. Now, am I mad? No, I'm not going to read it. I'd rather read 1984 again. In fact, it's been a really long time since I read it. I had the audiobook laying around because I thought I could do audiobooks, but I don't know. For some reason, I can't pay attention to them. This by The Guardian. Oh, I'm sorry. I need to finish that. Newman, who describes her still unfinished book on Twitter as a feminist retelling, is not the first person to adapt Orwell's novel. A movie came out in 1984, starring John Hurt as Winston and Susanna Hamilton as Julia. The movie also featured washed-out cinematography from the legendary Roger Deakins and a score from the accompanying pop song from Eurythmics, and a surprisingly poppy, well, I'm not going to go through that. Nobody wants this anywhere. And now it's already getting approved for a screen adaptation before the book's even done. Is that how people get work these days? They're like, hey, there's something that everyone likes. Let's make it worse. Julia, a feminist retelling of George Orwell's dystopian 1984, has been approved by the estate of the late author and has found publishers in both North America and the UK, with Variety reporting the upcoming novel is already being eyed for on-screen adaptation. Julia, written by Sandra Newman, will be told from the perspective of the female character of the same name in the original 1984, which focused on a male protagonist, Winston. That's right. That's the biggest problem with the book, is that it featured a man. And I mean, are we seriously, like, think about 1984, the rewriting of history, right? This is literally what's happening, right? Now, perhaps the book will be, pay homage and have some sort of honor in all of it, but why? Do we need a feminist retelling? Why not just say, don't buy my book? While the original 1984 was published in 1949, the book has been adapted twice into films, in 1956 and 1984. A 2013 Broadway adaptation of the novel was optioned in January to become a 5-part limited series for an independent studio, Whip. The novel has sold over 30 million copies since its release and has topped the bestseller list as recently as January. Shocking. Though it's impossible to draw concrete correlations, 1984 has periodically seen spikes in sales concurring with real-world events, which some may draw some parallels. The book reached number 3 on Amazon's bestseller in 2013, coinciding with whistleblower Edward Snowden's release of classified NSA documents. In 2017, it reached number 1 on the same list, and Penguin was forced to order a 75,000-copy reprint, coinciding with the inauguration of former President Donald Trump. It topped charts in January 2021. After the Capitol incident, the term Orwellian is commonly used as synonym for dystopian, reached its highest level of internet speech since the data was, it started in 2004 on January 8th, 2021. I mean, I don't need this book. I don't want this book. Clearly, this book is not for me. I highly recommend that, if you haven't read 1984, it was supposed to be a work of fiction, but it absolutely has turned out to be a work of prophet, or seeing the future. It was a premonition, not a nonfiction book. And if you look into George Orwell and understand him a little bit more, I think that he did see certain things like this coming. And it's impossible to ignore the correlations when I see people's freedoms being so willingly exchanged for just a semblance of security and safety. An old interview with Jordan B. Peterson on the Joe Rogan show has been circulating this morning, I think. I think it's an older one, where he's talking to Joe about, how people erode their own liberty willingly, but by, a few millimeters at a time. They push, he says, I'm paraphrasing, the government will push you and push you and push you until people protest. Then they'll back off. Then they'll start again. Then they'll back off. Then they'll start again. Then they'll back off. Before you know it, you're 100 feet from where you were before, and you have no idea how you got there. This is a tactic. This is not a coincidence. And, this isn't me being political. I don't care what side of the aisle you're on. Just look around. Look around at how willing people were to stay in their homes because somebody told them to, because, Don Lemon told them it was not safe to go outside. Look how many people actually believed CNN when they said that they couldn't read the WikiLeaks. Only CNN could read the WikiLeaks. Look how many people believed, in the dossier and Russia and all this stuff. How many people you see driving down the street with nobody in their car with a mask on? Wear your masks, fine, but alone in your car? Like, bro, turn off mainstream media for a minute. there's being safe and social distancing and whatever, and then there's letting this stuff ruin your life. And it's sad. Anyway, I have no interest in a pink-haired version of 1984. The original's just fine. Hope you enjoyed this video. We'll talk to you again real soon.